Welcome to the Db&J Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Turnbuckle Jim.
And this is Chair Shot Donnie.
Fast Count Brian, how's it going?
All right, to our dozens and potentially more dozens of viewers out there, welcome to the most nutritious wrestling commentary on YouTube and other podcast sites too. All right, today we're going to be doing first show we haven't done in a couple weeks actually. Unfortunately, we missed the Ultimate Warrior tribute. We might be doing a little bit of that later on. I didn't prepare anything, but if everyone wants to say some words, then that's cool, because I think he was a big part of my early wrestling fandom.
Absolutely.
No tribute should go longer than his best matches, so like 30 seconds maybe, I mean...
Yeah, it takes him longer to get to the ring than the match actually lasts, but yeah. My favorite match of his probably was Honky Tonk Man, when he just came out there and destroyed him after Honky Tonk had been the champion for over a year and a half at that point, I think. That was wonderful.
Hey, Donnie, if I may, I'm surprised, James. Where's Halloween Havoc 98?
Oh, man. We're not going to talk about the WCW 2 months he was there, cutting a big paycheck and ruining his legacy.
Not a fan of the One Warrior Nation?
Oh, my God. Another reason to give Beefcake a job.
You'll be the disciple.
And Horace Hogan.
Oh, God. Oh,
hey,
man.
to be fair, they did do right by him by tagging him with Sting for that one night.
Yes.
That was the only good thing they ever did with Warrior, and that was terrible. Anyway, so we're going to do Raw from 4/21, 2014. Then we're going to go on to our delayed review of what we kind of decided was the best WrestleMania 19. And actually, I think that definitely lines up. And then finally, we're going to be guess our top 5 managers. Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. So, starting off, Raw from Monday night. It begins with a vicious beatdown of Daniel Bryan by Kane, giving him not once, not twice, but thrice pile drivers. I thought this was a pretty good segment. Definitely built up the Kane character again after he's been jobbed out repeatedly. I guess my only question mark about this is I did mention about Daniel Bryan's father dying earlier that day, which has been pretty crappy news. I mean, no matter who you are. So, makes Bryan look weak, but then again it kind of builds up their match, which has just been kind of forced upon us this past couple weeks. Brian, what do you think of the segment?
I mean, to be terribly honest, I'm not a fan of this. I feel like, and I told you this off the show, but I feel like they're just, they did all that work to give Bryan the title, and they're like, well, who do we give him next? I mean, it's like, no offense to the Shield, I know they're putting their focus on those guys, and they deserve it. I just worry that fans are going to lose interest in Bryan by giving him a guy that basically jobbed out in, 30, 45 seconds at WrestleMania? I mean...
He's been looking horrible, and he's 47 years old at this point, and still looking pretty good when he can wrestle a match, but, yeah, I mean, definitely not a scary guy like Gordon would be.
If we're looking to, scare up old gimmicks of his to just help him out, bring back Dr. Isaac Yankem, for Christ's sakes. Or what? Diesel? I mean...
Fake Diesel, by the way.
Yeah, fake Diesel, excuse me, sorry. It's a foregone conclusion Bryan's going to win the match, no matter how many times you tombstone him on a steel step. So, to me, I could have gone without it, because he needs a legit opponent who's not been jobber to the stars.
Donnie?
Yeah, I agree. I thought I cannot stand this feud. I think it's been done to death already. So why do we need it now? Out of all the times... I mean, they've been tag team champions, and then they split up, and they wrestled and wrestled. It just seems like this is not anything that we haven't seen before. So, I know there's always a lull after WrestleMania. It's just sort of like, it's like postpartum depression. Like, we've been through, we've had our WrestleMania, and now it's just kind of like blah. So, and we're treading water until SummerSlam season. I get that. But I just don't like this feud at all. Kane belongs in the mid-card putting over guys, just in the main event he feels shoehorned, and Bryan's right. He's lost so much that it just doesn't have the momentum that it should.
All right, well, moving on then. We go to our first match of the evening, which was Bad News Barrett versus Sheamus. Bad News won and proceeded to move up in the Intercontinental Championship Contenders Tournament, which actually I think is a pretty cool idea. It definitely brings in a lot more focus to the belt. And they have really good guys competing too, so the matches have been pretty entertaining. I like this match. I like Bad News Barrett. I think it's definitely a good reinvention of the character. And Wade Barrett has really been kind of floating in the mid card for a couple of years now, and definitely needs to get more focused on him. Donnie, what'd you think about the match?
Yeah, this was a huge win for Barrett, not just in the Intercontinental title tournament, but over Sheamus. I like this match. I think the two styles gel really well. Finally, there's somebody with the name of Bad News that looks like they're going to actually do something. As shout out to Bad News Brown. But yeah, overall, I liked it, and I love. Let me just say, I love the Intercontinental. I like any tournament. So I'm in, and it's good to see Barrett back in the ring doing what he does best.
Yeah, definitely with you there with a big fan of the tournaments. I think they should do more with them. I kind of miss King of the Ring. Wish they would do that every year again.
Definitely.
Brian, what do you think?
I honestly think that, if I was Dean Ambrose, I would just chunk the U.S. title in the trash. Like, I swear, he could walk out without the belt, and everyone forget the U.S. title even existed. Like, I know, off the thing, but, I'm glad they're doing something with the Intercontinental title. I'm glad they're doing stuff with Bad News Barrett. Forgive me, but is anybody else, really upset that they're pushing Sheamus down the card? For me personally, I thought he was boring when he had his face run as the champion for a while back, but, he's got that credibility to put Barrett over, and, I'm happy about it, and of course he's going to beat RVD next week, but the question is, who's going to win? Does he have enough momentum to take down Big E? We don't know yet.
All right, well, moving on. We have our next match of the evening, which is Los Matadores with El Torito, which rhymes with Dorito. This is 3MB, or now I guess 3.5 MB, with Hornswoggle joining them. Honestly, I could care less about this stupid midget versus midget feud, but this match was kind of entertaining, so I'm kind of gigging it. I don't know. Los Matadores won by pinning Drew McIntyre. Actually, El Torito won pinning Drew McIntyre. That was kind of a crap finish. Donnie, what were your thoughts on the match?
Well, Hornswoggle's a heel. That's different. You know what I mean? I guess he's a heel now, and we've got to accept that. This match was kind of just filler to me. I've never really liked 3MB. I don't really have a lot to say. It just kind of felt like this match was a kind of a waste. This is a match I expect to see on main event.
Yeah, good point there, Brian.
Yeah, forgive me if you guys heard that cough. Here's the thing. I would rewrite this whole thing. I would give these guys a pay-per-view match, but here, just follow on. So you have Los Matadores fight 3MB, right? But what you do, midget on a pole match, and basically I guess the winning team gets their midget down first, and then you have a 3.5-on-3 handicap match. I know, it sounds ridiculous, but so does having all those guys in the ring at the same time. All I really wish that would happen, John Laurinaitis returns long enough just to give all those guys a future endeavored, and then you just wash away the whole scene like it never happened.
Well, we can always hope for maybe they'll go back to NXT, get repackaged, and then come back. Works for other people. All right. Speaking of being repackaged, the next segment was the Shield facing off with Evolution. With Evolution coming back and all, I guess, styling and profiling, minus Ric Flair though. I thought the segment was pretty cool. Definitely built up for a big feud. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing Evolution versus the Shield. And to be honest, this is probably the best thing you can do with Randy Orton and Batista at the moment. Brian, what are your probably contradictory thoughts?
I don't know how much time I got to go into that. I think, Ric Flair himself said it best. He did an interview one time where he said, you can't go forward by moving backwards. And while I like those guys being away from the heavyweight championship scene, I don't think bringing Evolution back is the best idea because this isn't 2005. But that being said, Triple H has wrestled so infrequently, I want to say, if that's the right thing, so that him being in this match is going to do nothing but help put the Shield over, which is great. But as far as the scene is concerned, yeah, I like that they were trying to rush Evolution, but can anybody take like Fandango standing on the stage with his arms crossed seriously? Like, I'm scared of that guy. Like, just so many jobbers out there that I was just like, come on, man. Just yeah. But the scene, I love the scene itself. Some of those guys I wish would not come out there.
All right, Donnie, what's your point?
Yeah, I'm a sucker for stable wars, so I'm cool with it. I kind of marked out when the limousine pulled up. I will be honest. Like, I was kind of, when Orton came out last, I was like, oh, here comes Flair, but to no avail. That said, I'm glad they're back. I think it's the perfect the yin to the Shield's yang, and I'm excited to watch the Shield go over because I think that's what's going to happen here, and it's well deserved.
Yeah, definitely feels like this is just building up the Shield, which has been great. I'm kind of surprised to keep it around the long, surprised to turn them face, surprised this whole feud's happening, but then again, professional wrestling, it's best when it surprises you.
Hey, and one quick thing, I know, and I know I said it before, but because we're all waiting for like the shoe to drop, but this would be that time to turn Roman Reigns against the Shield, have him be the fourth guy, and have him be the guy that they mentor towards that future main event push. If you wanted to do it, this would be the time to do it.
It would be a good time to do it. We'll find out. Extreme Rules on 2 Sundays, I guess. I don't know.
But where can I order this pay-per-view?
I don't think you have to order it if you have the WWE Network.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
All right. So next up we have the Usos, recently married Jay, or is that Jimmy Uso, versus Goldust and Cody Rhodes. Goldust, who is already understand the terrors of marrying into the professional wrestling business, loses with Cody getting kicked in the chin. I don't know. This match was okay to me. Donnie, what say you? Donnie?
Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot to unmute here. It looks like they're finally going with the Cody versus Goldust feud. To me, it's like 2 months too late. It feels like their big moment that could have happened to blow up into a feud has passed. So now it just kind of feels like, oh, we're finally getting it, but the heat's gone. Good for the Usos, I suppose. I agree with you. This was a forgettable match, and it's kind of a crappy Raw so far. So, it was, blah.
Yep. All right, Brian.
I feel like I kind of be saying the same thing for the Usos they say for Daniel Bryan, but it's like they always go wishy-washy back and forth with the tag team scene. Like,
yeah, Brian.
I know what he's saying though. Like, it's they're never sure what they want to do with the tag team division, and whether they want to put a team over strong or several teams over strong or not. Right now, the Usos just seem to be the team of the moment, but how long will that last?
Yeah, good point. He's always going with a hard team at the time. It looks like we're having some technical difficulties with
now.
Brian.
Here's a question about the Usos. Yeah, we'll get him back just as soon as we can.
As soon as we can, folks.
Oh,
we have some problems for you on Skype. This is live podcasting.
Hi, sorry, yeah, like issues. I'm so sorry.
Oh my goodness, we got Daniel Bryan back. I mean, just Brian.
Finally.
That's gotta be Kane.
Oh, slobber knocker. It's a slobber knocker. Just to finish the stupid point real quick. Like, does anyone else see, like, this is sort of like the, sneaky way of, like, pushing Cody Rhodes towards, like a Money in the Bank or some kind of big push? Because I feel like they recognize he's a good enough wrestler. He deserves to get a singles push, and, Goldust has served his time, but I feel like he's holding Cody back now.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think that if they separate, Cody would be the biggest recipient of that bonus there.
Yep, matter of time.
Yep. Anyway, moving on, we have Layla versus Emma. We're gonna skip that.
I love you, Emma.
Emma is good. Layla is not. They just really need to.
Hey, quick question. Like, I don't know why, if I missed it somehow, but where did the whole Summer Rae Layla exchange happen?
On Twitter. So you got a bomb on Twitter now or something? I don't know. I have no idea what's going on with Summer Rae. If that's real life crap or it's professional wrestling, so it is probably fake crap. But still, it's doesn't make any sense. Anyway, we're getting into stuff I really don't want to get into. So,
I know, but it's sort of like going from a Cadillac to like a station wagon. You know, I'm just...
Well, you got to go with the one that has a few miles on it, because you know it's good value.
Gets a lot out of that eyebrow.
Wow.
Anything about worn down tread? I mean, anyways, moving on.
Anyway, moving on. So next up we have the second Intercontinental tournament for the number one contender match, which is Rob Van Dam, surprisingly enough, defeating Cesaro after Jack Swagger interferes and causes Cesaro to have a count out. I thought this was good, but it wasn't great. Like there's two styles just never meshed with each other, so it wasn't that as good as they hoped it would be. Brian, what are your thoughts?
I completely agree. I know that see, they're doing the right thing here. They should take a note with RVD and use it for Kane, because you got the established vet who clearly isn't going to get pushed for a title, and he's doing the right thing. He's putting on good matches, and like he'll deliver every time in the ring, and he's going to put Bad News Barrett over, so he goes to fight Big E. But I think they have bigger plans for Cesaro. That's why they're having him feud with Swagger, and then see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I think the Swagger feud is definitely something that's going to be really good, especially the manager versus manager. I don't know what they want to do with the managers, but it's definitely fun with Zeb Coulter versus Paul Heyman. So, Donnie, what are your thoughts?
I'm confused because Paul Heyman is the manager of Cesaro and
Brock Lesnar.
Right. So Paul Heyman's a heel, but Jack Swagger's a heel. So does that mean and Zeb Coulter's a heel, and Cesaro? I guess is he supposed to be a heel that the crowd loves? Like I don't understand what the heel face dynamic is on here.
Yeah.
Surprised to see RVD get the win, but he's kind of an afterthought to everything else happening right now.
I think RVD will definitely get jobbed out to Bad News next week.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Brian, what'd you think?
I think it was great.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. Speaking of is Exana losing to Paige versus I don't know what the stupid name of the move is called.
Scorpion Crosslock.
Scorpion Crosslock. That's actually like a badass name. And I actually like that move, and I really like Paige. And she's only like 21, and she's like 12 years younger than me. But I'm not feeling creepy in any kind of way. Donnie, what'd you think?
I love you, Paige.
Brian?
As far as like name for her finisher, why not like Paige Turner or like the Bob Seger song "Turn the Page"? I'm just saying.
I think you're fired, Brian.
Oh man, I swear I could get a job in the creative meetings, but
You probably could actually. You know what? You're rehired because we can't lose you.
Thank you. Vince Russo was looking to take my job.
God.
Yeah.
Like half an hour political commentary / like religious commentary / like why he's so awesome and saved WCW.
Yeah, and Hulk Hogan's a piece of crap. But anyway.
Oh, God.
So yeah. I mean, just I really got nothing except for the fact that it's just good that Paige is getting time to show who she was, because she kind of won the title, like all of a sudden. Now people are like, who the hell is she?
Yeah.
This is the way to do it. So good for her.
Definitely is. Definitely good seeing her out there every single week and performing and showing what she has. Unfortunately, I think they really have to build the Divas division from the ground up at this point. It's really weak. There's really not many good wrestlers at all in the Divas division. So I'm hoping like Emma and Paige, and maybe we'll see some good wrestling for a change.
It's interesting because I followed Emma and Paige through their NXT time, and I can say, other than Natalya, they are leagues above every other diva right now.
Yeah, well, that's what NXT's there for. So.
And Paige is really, I mean, she to me is the best wrestler-wise, the best female wrestler that we've seen since Trish Stratus, and that is high company.
Yeah.
So let's just watch and see what they let her do, because she is awesome in the ring.
I like to see that.
Don't you guys feel like they could have built her up like slowly and had her like take down AJ when she had like a few more months under her belt, to make it more about how long she had the belt instead of just dropping it the night after WrestleMania? I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, we're not the creative guys. We just commented on their decisions. All right. So next up, speaking of NXT, we have Alexander Rusev defeating Sin Cara, which was actually better than I expected to be. It wasn't a complete jobber match to Rusev. Sin Cara actually had some moves on him, but wasn't able to take him down. So I thought it was all right. What'd you think, Brian?
I'm just gonna like sleep on this guy until he does something important because honest to God, like I don't see anything from this guy, and I could be totally wrong. But like I said before, like he just looks like a guy that could literally like just spontaneously combust right there.
So full of muscles, he's just gonna blow up in the middle of the ring.
You know,
Donnie,
sorry.
Donnie, what'd you think?
Yeah, he's such an old gimmick. Rusev is. It's like it feels like it's been done 1,000 times by other people.
Umaga?
Right.
Yeah.
Sort of. Who's the Russian guys?
Kozlov
a little bit.
Vladimir Kozlov, yeah.
Right. Even back to like the Berserker. You know, if you want to go back that far, it's just kind of like that. It's been done before, and it.
Yeah.
You know, this time around, it's it's more of the same. We'll wait until he runs into Cena in about 6 months, and then we never see him again. That's my trajectory.
Ooh, you know what he needs? Like a Vladimir Putin lookalike as his manager.
That is hilarious.
I think Lana's actually much better as champion than Vladimir Putin.
Well, I mean, sure, eye candy's fine, but I'm just talking about like play it up.
Why
You know, why not have him get so hot that Hogan gets out of retirement and beats him at SummerSlam?
Hogan from the past time travels, comes back, and defeats him.
Brother.
All right. So speaking of Super Cena, we have the entire Wyatt family pummeling on John Cena for what felt like 3 hours. I thought this was a good way to build up their feud. I think their feud has actually been really good so far. There's such different dichotomy. But at the end of the day, how many times is John Cena going to get beat up just to come back and beat Wyatt, if that even happens? Brian, what do you think?
I mean, if it's a 3-hour movie, I will pay to see it over and over again. But I mean, to tell you the truth, hey, I watched the Backstage Pass, and they were trying to blame it, because like I guess the fans got to vote on the match, so they voted that they wanted it 3-on-1. So they were trying to say that like the fans voted because they want to see Cena get his butt kicked by all 3 guys. So what I'm thinking is they're gonna start having Cena do the whole "screw you fans," and this is gonna go to his heel turn. This is what this is where it has to go. Otherwise, it's just going to be the same old, and we can't keep doing that.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. Donnie, what'd you think?
I have bad news for you, Brian. I'll be Barrett right now. Exactly where you don't want it to go is exactly where it's going. That's just my feeling. This isn't going to end up with heel Cena. It's going to end up with Cena overcoming the odds, and then the Wyatts going on to something else. It's awesome. I love Bray Wyatt. He's making a name for himself in a huge way. But I'm just not buying that this is going to end in anything other than Cena standing tall and rising above hate, and then the heels go back to their lair. So that's It was a good ending, I think, of all the different storylines going on. If you're going to get Brian Cane out of the way first, this is a good way to end. And that's about all I can say. It was very long, I think, James, you nailed it.
It was too damn long, and it was just Cena getting beaten up. But actually, the way I would like to see it finish is kind of both of you guys take. So Cena loses, but also becomes heel in the process. Wyatt goes on to challenge Brian for the belt. I think that would be really cool.
See, let me pitch a quick idea. How about Cena goes heel, like joins the Authority, becomes the face of the WWE like he is already, and his heel Cena fights the face Brian in a role reversal.
Oh, well, that would be pretty cool. Well, we'll have to see what happens coming next week on Monday Night Raw. And then, of course, we'll read some spoilers too about SmackDown because we watch that too sometimes. I don't really watch it. Brian?
Yeah, sorry.
Do you watch it?
Yeah. Every so often, but not really.
Donnie?
Well, the last time I watched SmackDown, when The Rock was on it.
Wow. All right. So, next up, our favorite WrestleMania of all time.
Are we going to give our Raw ratings, though?
Oh, our Raw ratings. Yeah, sure. So, moving back, Raw rating, I give this B-. It had nothing that really stood out, but it had a lot of building blocks to the feud. So, I liked it, but I think it wasn't that great. Brian, letter grade?
B-, B, just B. I got nothing. It's just blah. B for blah.
All right. Donnie?
C-. Didn't like it. It barely held my attention most of the night.
That's saying a lot, too.
Yeah, it just wasn't. It didn't do anything for me.
All right. So, let's start this again. WrestleMania 19, which we determined was the greatest WrestleMania of all time based on our brackets. The last episode. Go back and listen to that. It was phenomenal. What do you guys think of rewatching WrestleMania 19, Brian?
I mean, it was actually as good as I thought it was. Do I think it was the best? I mean, we thought that with the brackets, but yeah, I think it stands up really well, actually.
Yeah, Donnie, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how it couldn't. I mean, you can make arguments, I guess, for several other WrestleManias, but this one was really hard to beat. I mean, if it's not your favorite, it's got to be in anybody's top 5. It was that good, or top 3 even.
All right, yeah, definitely agree with you. It's kind of hard to say exactly which one was the best WrestleMania, but I think of a combination of all the different factors in place, and especially the matches themselves, made it really, really great. So let's start out. The first match was Matt Hardy, Cruiserweight champion, with Shannon Moore defeated Rey Mysterio. I thought it was a good back and forth opening match. Matt Hardy, definitely the heel with Matt Hardy version 1.0. When he comes with the crappy internet stream from the early 2000s. I thought that was really awesome back in the day. I just love Matt Fax. So, good start to the show. What you think, Donnie?
Yeah, I mean, remember how big Matt Hardy was on MySpace? That guy was all over the place. I liked it. It's weird because I'm used to so many high-profile matches being the first, the opening to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And this really wasn't. However, it was a solid match between two really good mid-carders. Yeah. It kind of got me into it. It's all right, that's not so bad. We'll keep going. So I think
Rey Mysterio too, by the way.
Oh wow, was it?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's even better. So yeah, I think it was a good match.
Ryan, what do you think of Rey Mysterio's Daredevil costume?
I thought it was good. I'm glad he didn't do Spider-Man.
Or the Joker.
But to tell you the truth, anybody could be Spider-Man now, right? Anyways. So I agree with you, James. I love the V1 the gimmick, but him being a cruiserweight is kind of a joke in itself. Because if you ever get a chance, you should look up on Google, put Matt Hardy versus Weight Watchers. It is fantastic. It just shows him being gaining so much weight and just being out of shape. But as far as the match is concerned, I'm considering that it's set up to where Mysterio won the Cruiserweight belt in his hometown, like a SmackDown a month or two later. It was good. Matt Hardy's gimmick was over, and it was just a really good way to start off the show. I had no issues with it.
Cool. All right, so next up we have The Undertaker, minus his tag team partner Nathan Jones, defeated the Big Show and the A-Train. And what I thought was okay. It was probably the weakest match of the night, to be honest, because these guys were really big. When you have big men together, a lot of times it's just not that good. So for what it was, I thought it was decent, but not special. Brian, your thoughts?
See, I put this up there with the Giant Gonzalez match as being probably one of the worst ones for as far as the streak's concerned.
Yeah.
Because no offense to Big Show and A-Train, but they're just giant stiffs to me. And to put Undertaker in there, and the more I look back at it, the more I think that Undertaker, wasn't going to tag with Nathan Jones, from the get-go. You're not going to have his streak be on the line in a tag team match.
Yeah.
So, it just seemed let's just get him out of the way. He'll fight these guys 2-on-1. Nathan Jones will make the save. He'll win the match. Streak continues. We move on. But here's the most upsetting thing of all. The fact that they had Limp Bizkit out there sing him in, and did they not say that he was WWE's favorite band in the whole wide world?
Wow.
Come on, you're killing me, guy. You're just killing me.
Yeah, and the fact that the theme song was called, was it Crack Addict?
Oh,
Right?
yeah, for WrestleMania, but he came out rolling, I think.
Oh yeah, rolling. Yeah, man, those were definitely different times back then. I definitely admit that. So, yeah, Limp Bizkit. Wow, that really dates this, doesn't it? Yeah, definitely probably the weakest Undertaker streak match of all time, besides Giant Gonzalez. So, it was decent, but not great. All right, so the next step we have the Divas match of Trish Stratus defeated Victoria and Jazz in the three-way match. Giggity. I thought this was pretty good use of the Divas. This is actually Divas wrestling was pretty good, or women's wrestling at that point. So what'd you think about it, Brian?
I mean, I'm a fan of it. I completely forgot that that Jazz was even around, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
you can't forget about her run too. She was like for the last WrestleMania too.
the only thing I remember her for is being Miss Rodney Mack, which I don't know if that's a random reference of the day, but
Oh God.
you remember like the white boy challenge. But anyways, so yeah, I thought the match was good. Like it got Trish over. Like Victoria had the crazy psycho again before Mickie James ever picked it up, and but Stevie Richards was out there. I mean, sure, he took the Trish Bulldog.
Yeah, that was cool.
But, yeah, I mean, good for him to help out with that, but it was just good seeing Trish get over like that.
Yep. Johnny?
Yeah, I love Victoria. I think she's probably one of the most underrated women's wrestlers of all time as far as her place in history. And I think this match kind of showed what she was capable of doing. Not really a fan of Jazz, and Trish is she's the best. So I think it ended up with a really, really fun match to watch. And as far as Divas WrestleMania matches going, it's really one of the best ones.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it was pretty good. Next up, another championship match is Team Angle, which is Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, defeated Los Guerreros, Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero, and the team of Chris Benoit and Rhino. I love this match. I thought it was great. I think this Los Guerreros and Team Angle were two of the best tag teams of the era. And everybody pretty much got a good moment to get their spot in. So I had no complaints with it. Definitely an excellent tag team match. What'd you think, Donnie?
Yeah, it was. Rhino was weird. I totally forgot him and Chris Benoit were a tag team, so that kind of came up out of nowhere. I was like, oh, yeah, I remember him.
Rhino.
Yeah, Gore. It was pretty good. It was pretty non-stop. Like, as soon as the match started, like, there weren't a lot of rest holds or anything. They really kind of kept the pace up, and that is a testament to all these guys' styles. I mean, there's so much athleticism between these guys that it really showed through. I really like this match. It's hard to do a triple threat match. It's hard to do a tag team triple threat match. But WrestleMania is when people step up, and this is definitely when guys stepped up, especially these guys. Team Angle was amazing, and they cut it short, and both of these guys should still be in the WWE, but they're not, and that's a tragedy, but good match.
Shame. Brian?
If I'm not mistaken, I mean, honestly, we're looking at the first post-brand extension WrestleMania, but they already split the tag team titles at this point, right? I mean,
I don't think so. I think this was before they split them up. I'm thinking, but that could be wrong.
yeah. Oh no. Yeah, they did because they had a whole tournament for Survivor Series. But to tell you the truth, like I absolutely like the match, and it's good to see Rhino again because after I'm biased towards Edge and his spear, and Goldberg's was really freaking awesome, but like the gore, you just can't say I love the gore. So kudos to. I just love seeing Rhino get out there because I don't think he was utilized properly, but everybody in the match did fantastic. I love the whole thing.
Definitely really good. All right, so speaking of going from good to great, we have Shawn Michaels in his first WrestleMania since WrestleMania 14, defeating Chris Jericho, and I thought was probably easily one of the best matches of both men's careers. Really good back and forth, trying to pin each other. Eventually Shawn Michaels gets him for the 3 count, goes to shake his hand. Chris Jericho kicks him in the junk. Good times. Brian, what'd you think of the match?
But before the match, like one of the things that kills me is gimmicks as far as the entrances are concerned, and the whole Shawn Michaels failed with the guns, the confetti guns or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, because they did that before. I'm like, it just takes away. Just walk to the ring and strut yourself when you get in there.
Well, it's supposed to be, you gotta make it special.
Well, I mean, he could just keep praying all the way down. It doesn't matter. I mean, for me, I love the match. Like, Jericho needed that because after he lost the title, it just seemed like he was just drifting along, and he had a good tag team title run with Christian, but honestly, this match solidified that Jericho belonged there and he was a really good wrestler. I mean, he was the perfect guy to relaunch HBK's WrestleMania career post the back injury. So, beginning to end, you can't get bored by the match.
Nope, definitely not. Donnie?
Yeah, this is actually, when I was thinking about it historically, since WrestleMania 14 and then such a break to come back, I think this was actually the match that made Shawn Michaels, the Mr. WrestleMania moniker started, I think, right here. Not to say that his earlier matches weren't great, but everything from here on out was stellar. And this is just a special match between two really good guys. I love the end. I love that drama of Jericho turning on Shawn Michaels, the A2 Jericho. As the great turn happens. It was great and just a joy to watch. It really was strange to be in the mid card. Its place was weird, but I think this is one of those that was way better than anybody thought it was going to be. It's A+ match in my opinion.
Well, it's also the longest match of the night too, at 22 minutes and 34 seconds. So,
man,
yeah, they give them enough time to develop a great match. All right, moving on to Triple H defeating Booker T for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think this would have been so much better if it did not have commentary. Were you guys listening with the commentary on and everything?
Yeah. Are you talking about the part where they said, Booker T was in prison and all that jazz?
Yeah, the whole thing that they made that, like, pretty much, like, his gimmick that he was in prison, but he's overcoming it. Oh, my goodness. Like, this, like, especially the King, it was so racist during his commentary. It's just like, I mean, he said stuff like he was born on a pool table, his, like, family photos are like a police lineup. I mean, obviously, like, he's a criminal, so this is what criminals do, but also it felt really racist. And that took away so much from the match, too, because I thought these guys did phenomenal. Both Triple H and Booker T looked great. And unfortunately, I think burying Booker T at this point probably put his career back by a couple of years. But overall, I think it was pretty good, except for goddamn freaking Jerry Lawler. Brian, what you think?
That's actually a really good point. Like, if you go look it up, if you ever feel like it, like, there's, like, videos and stories and God knows what else is written or said about this particular match because, like, the setup for it, where, like, Flair and basically Triple H made a joke of him being WCW champ, saying that, like, he could be their limousine driver, like their dry cleaner, just like their pool boy. It's basically just, like, a bunch of racist stuff. And the whole jail thing, like, to me, like, I didn't care for the match because they made Booker T look so bad that there was no way that Triple H could lose to him. And by Triple H getting beat up as much as he did, it made him look weak because he kept putting Booker T down. Like, I just didn't care for that whole thing whatsoever.
Yeah, well, I think that whole year had a lot of uncomfortable Triple H moments. Between that and, oh goodness, what was that? The Kane...
Katie Vick.
Oh, Katie Vick, yeah.
Katie Vick, oh my goodness, that was... Yeah, Triple H has probably hurt the business more than anybody can realize. But anyway, Donnie, what you think?
Yeah, I didn't like Triple H during this period in his career. It just kind of felt like he was just... I don't know. It seemed like a lot of people loved him at this... but this was before he was the game, before he was the King of Kings, and that really is, I think, where he hit his stride for me personally. So this time period was kind of like, he was good, and I liked Booker, but you're right, it was like incredibly, like, offensive. I thought it was kind of funny, actually, but I laugh at that kind of stuff. So, it was okay. It was not. I think it suffered from a hangover, still from the Jericho Shawn Michaels match.
Yeah.
It was at least better than the four-way pillow fight.
Oh God, we're not going to talk about that because that was.
The coach was a very lucky man, of course.
Oh my goodness, yeah, really. That was probably one of the trashiest moments in WWE history. Just saying, is all.
More than when the cat took her top off the Survivor Series, but.
Wow. That was pretty much more like, oh crap, she's actually going to show like nudity.
Oh
my goodness, that was a bit too much.
Fine.
Anyway, moving on to our next match, which wasn't pretty, but it was damn entertaining. Hulk Hogan beating on Mr. McMahon in a street fight, which I thought was incredibly bloody. Ugliest match I've ever seen in a WrestleMania, pretty much, but it was a beautiful ugly to it, if that makes sense. Donnie? What'd you think of the match?
Yeah, this was a feud that was like in the making for 30 years or so. I mean, it was so
20 years in the making.
Yeah. I mean, really, but it was, and it was so awesome. The fact that they made it a street fight and it was just so violent. And Roddy Piper shows up to be the classic Roddy Piper of old. I loved it. I thought you're right. It was a brawl. It was ugly, but it was beautifully ugly. I think that's the best way you could possibly put it. And I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it definitely was fun.
Hogan, for all of his limitations, really delivered, and so did Vince. And for these two to say that, oh man, Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan had a great match at WrestleMania 19, you'd think you were crazy. But they pulled it off really well this time.
Yeah. Brian?
Hey, I mean, I'm not trying to do the stupid math here. You take 20 years in the making for WrestleMania 19 and the whole gimmicks behind who built WrestleMania. May have wanted to save it a year, but point is, I love that match. It was phenomenal. I mean, Vince doing, was it a leg drop off the ladder onto, like, the Spanish announce table?
Yes.
Like, you can't beat, like, 50-year-old guys, 50-plus-year-old guys doing moves like that to each other. Like, and Piper coming in, like, the whole place just, like, popped. Like, it was nuts. Like, they lost it for him. And it was great. My only downside was, like, you're so happy to see Hogan get that win, and then he freaking gets fired on SmackDown the next couple of days, and he becomes Mr. America. So I'm like, we could have gone without that part. But for this, fantastic. I'd watch it over again.
Definitely. It's kind of hard to remember that Hulk Hogan came back as a regular performer for SmackDown after being gone for the company for so many years. It was kind of surreal at that point too. It felt very surreal. Next up, we have The Rock finally defeating Stone Cold Steve Austin after giving him 3 rock bottoms. And actually, Stone Cold's last WrestleMania match. Kind of sad. But I did feel kind of like the end of an era with that match. I thought it was good, but it wasn't great. I think because of the injury, Stone Cold can only do so much. Brian, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you read Austin's book, like, he was in the hospital, like, the night before WrestleMania, so they were pretty freaked out that match was even going to happen. So the fact that they pulled it off as well as they did was fantastic. And, The Rock had to go over. Like, I mean, you didn't really know how long his whole Hollywood heel gimmick was going to last, but I loved every second of it. Like, just talking crap to the fans, like making fun of Hogan, talking about what you going to rock a jabroni or something like that. Like, his heel gimmick, like, then the Rock concerts he did on Raw, phenomenal. Like, his heel gimmick was so good, and he actually got people to hate him.
Yeah, I do miss The Rock as being the heel company.
Yeah, like when he tried to be, like, corporation heel, they were still cheering him, like, and you knew that wasn't going to last. But when he was Hollywood heel, he meant it. Like, he thought the fans deserted him, and that, he's like, screw you guys. But phenomenal match. I loved it. Austin put on a heck of an effort, being his last match ever in the ring, if I'm not mistaken. And it put Rock over to Jobbie Goldberg the very next month. So it was perfect.
Donnie?
Yeah, great match. It made me miss Stone Cold. I thought The Rock was pretty good, but, it was really just, for me, like a walk down memory lane of this feud. Everything that it meant to wrestling at the time, and just sort of the end of a huge era. I mean, Austin 316 was amazing, and this was sort of the end of it, so that was sad.
Yeah.
But the match itself was, I thought, fantastic. Not either of their best matches of all time, and probably not even their best match against each other. However, it was still very, very good and quite nostalgic for these days.
Definitely. I mean, those guys were essentially the Attitude Era.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if not the leaders of the Attitude Era. And yeah, seeing these two guys, like, I know The Rock, like, kind of was intermittent. He did a lot of movies afterwards. Pretty much quit after the last WrestleMania. Came back, main evented twice, but still, I mean, in terms of like him being a regular performer, that was pretty much his last days too. So, yeah, kind of sad, but bittersweet. The Rock finally beat Stone Cold, so I'm happy about that part. Okay, so our last match is Brock Lesnar defeating the champion Kurt Angle for the WWE Championship. When I thought was a phenomenal match. Those guys were outstanding, honestly. I think that Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar were the two best prodigies of wrestling we've ever seen. I mean, Brock Lesnar goes to be a champion within this first year. Kurt Angle does it, I think, also within his first year, too. He also won the belt. Correct me if I'm wrong?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, both these guys were phenomenal. Brock Lesnar was probably not as good on the mic as Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle wasn't as big as Brock Lesnar is physically. But this match was, I thought it was phenomenal. They started out with mat wrestling, and then they go into, like, all these different holds and suplexes, and it actually, like, to some degree, looked pretty real. Brian, what'd you think about the main event?
I mean, I liked it. I would have preferred a longer build-up than what they had. I mean, you knew those guys were going to wrestle. I mean, right after Big Show gave Kurt Angle the belt. But to tell you the truth, I liked it. I really did. And the whole botched moonsault where Lesnar knocked himself out.
Yeah, that sucked. Okay, the ending was terrible, but for the most part, it was good. If he actually hit that moonsault, it would have been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is like, I kind of felt like you had Rock Austin, you had Hogan McMahon, you had Michaels Jericho, you had 3 solid matches that could have ended WrestleMania. I felt like the Angle Lesnar match didn't really live up to like what a main event should be, as far as what I thought.
Right. Well, I think they had not been around in the company as long as like those other guys have, so that's probably why it doesn't feel like a complete main event. So I can see your point there. Donnie?
I think this goes down as one of my favorite WrestleMania main events. It was really, really good. And I think it's because of that amateur background both of them had. And both of these guys are legitimate tough guys, so they're not afraid to work stiff. And that kind of brought a sort of like an Asian flair to it, if you're familiar with like the Japanese style of wrestling. But it was very similar. Like it was very, very hard hitting.
We're saying it's Vader stiff?
No, I didn't go that far. It wasn't like mean, but I did enjoy this match. Even the shooting star press, like I still watch that over and over because how did he not break his neck? Holy cow!
That was
it was a good match to end the night. We've had so many WrestleManias that we've reviewed, but the last match has been such a downer that I actually thought this one was pretty good.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. So overall, I give this WrestleMania an A+. Definitely, this is if not the best WrestleMania, at least in the top 3. Donnie?
Yep, A+, without a doubt.
Brian?
Yeah, what the hell, A+.
I'm straight. All right. So,
America.
Is it the best WrestleMania? Definitely contention for that. I would argue it would be. But maybe there's been other better matches in other WrestleManias. Maybe other WrestleManias have had this overall better feel to it. But yeah, I think it was definitely a really good WrestleMania and had an excellent. Brian?
Keep in mind, it's the last WrestleMania pre-John Cena, so enjoy it. A+, A+. There was no Edge because he had the neck injury, which that would have made it A triple plus. But to tell you the truth, I love that WrestleMania.
Yeah, it was definitely very good. So, and man, that whole company was so talented at that time. They had so much good workers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's probably better. Other WrestleManias have had better singular moments, but as far as quality of show start to finish, I just don't think this one can be beat.
Yeah. Well said, Donnie, well said. So we're going to leave it at that for WrestleMania 19, the greatest WrestleMania ever.
So that's why they said Limp Bizkit was their favorite band, because it was the best WrestleMania ever. They had their best band ever. They performed twice.
Brian?
Dirk, we miss you.
Shut up, Brian. Shut up, Brian.
Only down point. That and the pillow fight were just kind of.
Those were the two lowlights of this era because it was so crack addict, really.
I apologize. I think my check's in the mail from Fred Durst.
He just has money to give out now.
Like $5 maybe. Who knows?
That's about as much as he can make. Anyway, so we go on to our top 5 list of the night. Donnie, this was your top 5 list, I believe.
Yeah.
Top 5 managers. Who wants to start?
I'll go ahead and start. I looked at it as oddly enough, I tried to go through WCW, WWE, all eras, even World Class and all that, and I came back to the same 5 people, and most of them all are centered around the WWF, WWE. So go figure. I think that's what that territory and later national company, worldwide company, really contributed was the art of the manager.
Yeah.
So number 5 on my list is a Hall of Famer, and has he managed some of one of my favorite tag teams and some of my favorite wrestlers of all time. That's Mr. Fuji. Mr. Fuji managed Demolition.
Yep.
He managed Yokozuna. He managed Owen Hart and Davey Boy Smith. The Orient Express, Crush. I mean, there's the list is pretty long. And he lasted forever. He was always there. So he was good. I liked him.
Did you mention Powers of Pain?
Yeah. That was Barbarian Warlord, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So So that
Master Fuji.
Yeah, Master Fuji. Well, I'm kind of surprised that you put Master Fuji number 5 when you should be Mr. Fuji number 1. But all right, well then. So I had. I'm gonna go. I'll just go next.
Yeah, go.
Why not? I can understand. I'm going to go with my number 5 is actually from ECW, Bill Alfonso.
Oh my God.
The guy was a beanpole. He was terrible on the mic. He had bad teeth, but damn it, I just love that guy. He managed both Sabu and Rob Van Dam, and he was just a good cheerleader for both of them. Got them to work together. And Rob Van Dam, I'm secretly a big fan of his, especially from the ECW days when they had that big run as a television champion and tag team champions. Thumbs up, definitely good stuff. And if anything, he had emotion and energy behind what he did. So I got to give him that.
I wanted him to swallow that whistle. Oh my God! Like, hey, did you guys remember? Like, he was actually a referee in WWF like years before that.
He was. Yeah, I forget about that.
Oh, and did you just see like Paul Heyman said it was like one of his top 5 best moments in ECW when he fought Beulah and they got bloody and started beating each other up.
That was great. Again, they had lots of emotion behind it. So.
All right, I guess I always try to go away from mainstream for whatever reason, but like my number 5, like I wanted to go with a guy that like just was hilarious. Like, dude made me laugh, and he's the only manager that I've ever seen that has a victory over Hulk Hogan, and that's the Genius. Cannot forget that guy, because every time he came out, they booed him. You just wanted to choke the guy so bad because he read off some god awful poem that he had, and you're just like. I just love that guy. And yes, I know he's Savage's brother, and pretty much the only reason Savage isn't in the Hall of Fame now, because he told everybody that Randy's last wish is that they all went in together. And give me a break. But like every time he came out, I mean, I know he managed Mr. Perfect, and then but he also had a match at Royal Rumble where he got his hair cut by Beefcake. He also managed the Beverly Brothers. Let's not forget that awesome tag team. But
yeah.
I mean, the point is like. I love that guy. I thought he was fantastic. I couldn't get enough of the Genius.
All right. Well, Donnie?
Awesome. Well, coming in at number 4, maybe higher on some of this is one that I particularly, I mean, I had him on my list because he absolutely belongs there, but too much of a good thing can be really bad. That's Jimmy Hart. Just looking at the list of the people that he has managed over the years is impressive. Like, it's an all-star team. Everybody from Hogan to Sting to Lex Luger to everybody. I mean, if you're anybody in wrestling at one point or another, Jimmy Hart has represented you. Even the Hart Foundation, remember, he started us there. As a heel or as a face, man, he was so effective. I thought he was more effective as a heel because he's so hateable with that shrill voice and the stupid megaphone and his garb. But he was instrumental in his time. Like, he was the second banana to the number 1 manager of all time, which we'll get to. But he was a huge character. And let's not forget, his contributions went more than managing. He was also big into the theme music, and he wrote a lot of people's theme music as well. So
that's true. And a member of the Gentrys from the 1960s.
Oh yeah, Keep on Dancing.
Yep.
Stat of the night. Very nice.
So my number 4 was Miss Elizabeth. It was either her or Sensational Sherry, and I decided to go with her because she didn't say much, but when she did, it was well said and definitely looked great throughout the entire 80s and 90s. And I thought honestly, like her and the Macho Man, really, Macho Man would not have been over without her, and she would not have been, of course, noticed if it wasn't for the Macho Man either. Whether Macho Man was a face and she was his love interest. Or heel, and his love interest in peril by the Macho Man. I thought it was she definitely brought a lot of class to be a manager, and she only I think managed Hogan and Macho Man, and just phenomenal.
Man, yeah. See, I would have gone with her, but I had a hard time fighting between the whole manager versus valet kind of.
She was a manager, not a valet, and then became a valet later.
Well, I mean, to go on what you said a minute ago, I went with Sherry because of the whole. I thought she was more of a manager than Elizabeth because, I mean, you look at her lineup. Yeah, she had what? DiBiase, Savage, Shawn Michaels, Harlem Heat, Ric Flair. That itself is a fantastic lineup. she actually had the first mixed tag team match at WrestleMania 6.
Yeah.
You know, she could like beat the crap out of any guy. She was tough as nails, and she was that manager. Like her shriek, I hated it, but like she's that person you love to hate. Like I could not get enough of seeing Sherry come out there because she built up and helped every guy that she was with, no matter what.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right. Well said. Well said. Donnie?
So my number 3, as we start, we keep on our road to the best managers of all time. Number 3 is somebody that I actually, one of the very first managers that I remember seeing live, and it's, I was a WCW guy in the early 90s. I kind of had left WWF and got into WCW, and one of the people that brought me into that was Paul Heyman, or Paul E. Dangerously at the time, and he carried a massive phone. And he had the Dangerous Alliance, which is amazing, great stable, one of the best stables of all time, and actually a predecessor to the NWO. Fast forward all the way to today, and he's still relevant. He was fantastic. He's fantastic, and nobody works him like Paul Heyman does. ECW aside, because he really wasn't a manager there.
No, he was the authority figure there.
Right, but anytime he manages a talent, automatically by association, that talent becomes a good deal, a big deal.
Okay, well then, my number 3 was actually Donnie's number 4, Jimmy Hart, for all the reasons why Donnie gave us, and I think it'd be higher in the card if he wasn't, had managed so many guys and like really never like managed the guy as like world champion, and I'm not counting his whole Hulk Hogan thing because that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, he definitely was obnoxious and good. Playing up the heel manager with the megaphone. Remember how many guys that got hit in the head with that thing? So yeah, definitely one of my favorite managers of all time.
Yeah, I never understood why Hogan necessitated a manager.
That made no sense. I mean, I guess when he wasn't at WrestleMania 9 when he got attacked by Money Inc. And they kind of like adopted him as like the pity manager or something like that, and they kept him in WCW. I mean.
I hate to say that I know the story, but like he was managing Money Incorporated at the time, and they like sort of like took his megaphone and started beating the crap out of Beefcake's like messed up face already.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Hart was like, "I'm so sorry, I want to join up, Hogan, take me." He's like, "Okay."
He was one of those friends of Hogan that just everywhere Hogan went, he was sure to go.
Yeah. Well, if anything, if you were a wrestler in the early '90s, like latch onto Hogan like a leech because that guy will get you a money ticket somewhere.
Yep.
All right, Brian.
Oh yeah. My next one's Joel Gertner. I'm kidding. He would have been a good number 16,412. I had to go with Donnie's original. I had to go Master Fuji. I just loved everything about that guy. I like this more his Powers of Pain stuff because you actually heard him talk. I mean, when he was managing Yokozuna, they had like James E. Cornette go out there and just like yell his head off for 10 minutes. But like, I just like his whole thing, like when he switched and like what he did single-handedly turned the Powers of Pain heel and Demolition face at the same time. Like manager like that had that kind of influence, and like I just like seeing him come out there with those guys because let's be honest, without him, I don't think any of those tag teams would have like been as good. And especially Crush on his like 4th or 15,000th gimmick, like he helped Crush, for the time being. So anybody can help Crush be a decent character. You got to put him up there somewhere.
Yep, you got to be somewhere in the card. Donnie, what was your number 2?
Number 2 is one that already has been mentioned by Brian, and that's Sensational Sherry, old Sherry Martel. Instrumental in the careers of Randy Savage, Jake the Snake, and Shawn Michaels. I don't think that Shawn Michaels would be who he is today or who he ended up being if it wasn't for her getting him over so much as a heel. Holy crap. And when she used to throw her boot into the ring for other people to hit, and then throw it out, like, oh my God, I couldn't understand. I was a kid and I was so angry. That winch. And it just is a testament to her ability. She was fantastic, and everybody that she represented was better for it. Harlem Heat and all that, and it was a sore loss when she lost her life early. Because I think even today she could have a role. But nevertheless, her mark on wrestling is unmistakable, and she remains absolutely my favorite female in wrestling and one of my favorite managers.
Hey, I hate to say this, and I apologize for interrupting, but like I feel like her death, like it got rest her soul, but it had a lot to do with the ending of the Benoit tragedy to that god-awful McMahon limousine death angle that they were doing. Because like he faked his death, and then Benoit has this thing, and then Sherry dies. You're like, you know what? Too much bad juju is coming from this. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, Benoit did send me back from watching wrestling for many years. So.
Yes, he did.
Because that was damn sad. But that's not part of the list anymore. We'll go with my number 2, which is actually I think Donnie's number 3, Paul Heyman. Definitely a Paul Heyman guy. That guy gets me excited. I mean, mostly I've seen him as a manager. Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, Curtis Axel Ryback, Cesaro, and he's one of the best workers on the mic I've ever seen. Even recently, when he's just been going off on how Brock Lesnar beat the streak. I mean, Brock Lesnar's not even there, but you can feel his presence in the room because Paul Heyman's talking about him. That's how good of a manager he is. And the fact that they're giving him multiple guys, too, to work with, I think is phenomenal. I think he could really be doing this for another 20 years because he's just that damn good at what he does. So, Brian, what was your number 2?
Oh man, I just realized the Genius was a stupid pick. Yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, my number 2 is Paul Bearer.
Oh yeah. We
Yeah.
talked about Paul Bearer, didn't we? It was actually from my proto list. He'd probably be number 6.
Yeah, I was like, I was against putting him on there at first, but then I was like, honestly, without him, I don't think Undertaker would have got as good a start as he did. And then, he also had Kane, Vader, Mankind, just all that stable alone, like a stable of guys right there, it's fantastic. Like you can't beat it. Like I single-handedly, I think without him, like I said, Undertaker would not be where he is today because he wouldn't have had that mouthpiece to go along with him to start his career off. And then when he turned bad and went with Kane and went with Mankind, you just hated the guy so much. I love Paul Bearer.
Yeah, he was definitely good, man. He should have been on my list too. We had another 10 more guys to use, unfortunately. Donnie, who was your number 1? And actually, I think we're all gonna have the same number 1. So Donnie, you just go first.
Well, I will say that he just missed the cut. Paul Bearer did for me. He was one of those number 6 or 7. Number 1 is Jim Cornette. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He was actually my most hated person in wrestling. I'll get into that another day. Cannot stand him. Bobby Heenan, though. He's the brain. I don't even know. I don't know how to put into words how much he means to wrestling. Both as a manager, as a commentator, as everything. He's the best ever. In his mic work, in his ability to get physical with the ring. He let Ultimate Warrior drop on his head how many times? He got bit by a dog.
The weasel suit on?
Yeah, he put between his whole interplay with Andre the Giant through the years, I thought was brilliant. And he was just the Heenan family remains, I think, one of the trailblazing, besides the Four Horsemen, one of the trailblazing stables of all time. And it all has to do with his genius and the ability to interact with the crowd and interact on the microphone. He was fantastic, an A+++ talent and deserving of the Hall of Fame.
Oh, easily. Yeah, definitely Bobby the Brain Heenan. Man, he was so good as a commentator and just as a person, but as a manager, he made the crowd really hate him. And, of course, he's my number 1, too, by the way, in case you didn't figure that out. Yeah, he was just such a guy who did whatever it takes to make everybody hate him, but also gave you the payoff of making him look like an idiot at the end, too. So he was probably wrestling's one of the greatest villains, especially during the 80s and 90s, during his heyday. And, man, you just love to hate the guy. So you just can't say enough about his ability. Brian, did you also pick the same guy?
Actually, I went with Lita. I'm kidding. Well, that's not a bad pick.
No.
For number 10. But I'm gonna pull an audible and put the tie because I can't leave Heyman off my list. So I'm going Heyman and Heenan because I honestly feel different generations, different times. But just as big of impact. I mean, without Heenan, I don't think Mr. Perfect would have been as good of a IC champ. Same thing for Rick Rude, who, by the way, I'm pretty sure is like the only guy besides Sergeant Slaughter to ever beat the Warrior. I'm not 100% on that, but
You could be right.
yeah. So without Heenan, like you wouldn't have had like Andre the Giant Haku. You wouldn't have had like King Kong Bundy. I think he was like Big John Studd's manager for like WrestleMania 1 or 2 or something.
I think you're right with that. We took on Andre, yeah.
Yeah, and then like without him helping Andre's heel turn for WrestleMania 3, I don't think the match would have been as well.
Yeah.
But then you changed the dynamic to Heyman, who honestly without him, Lesnar wouldn't have been as good at any point in his career, and he single-handedly extended CM Punk's title run by a good 4 or 5 months when it probably should have ended sooner. So like his mic work, both their mic work, is like fantastic. And with Heenan, like him and Gorilla were like my favorite commentators, like together. Like I couldn't get enough of those guys, And let's not forget when he had his run-in with Doink the Clown. Who can forget that classic piece of wrestling history, of course? But I couldn't keep both of them off because the genius is that important. But I just those two like set the bar. I don't want to put one over the other because I feel like either would have been good in any time. So you could have put Heenan today, you could have put Heyman then, and I think they would have done just as well.
Yeah.
Definitely, I agree.
Wow. Okay, so definitely good lists of almost the same guys, pretty much. When you go with managers, it's kind of hard to not have those guys in there.
So other than like Paul Bearer and like I know Leo was mentioned, is there anything like you guys just wanted to give a honorable mention to?
Rikishi.
Oh.
No,
Okay.
not Rikishi. I'm thinking Kimchi, who managed the Uganda Giant. No, I'm kidding. That's
What about Armando Alejandro Estrada? I mean,
Oh.
yeah.
That one.
Or Rico.
Vicky Guerrero.
Oh God.
Sonny.
Actually, Sonny would probably go in there too. Sonny was really good.
Davari.
Oh God, Davari.
Muhammad Hassan? Come on now.
Man. Anyway, so I believe it's my turn to pick our list for next week. So next week we're going to do top 5 wrestling personalities who deserve a punch in the face. It could be for any reason. I'm thinking mostly for kayfabe reasons. So I think Jim Cornette might be in your list there, Donnie.
He's going to be a hard to top.
Right, but if you got to give a punch to the face, you got to say why.
Okay.
So it could be anybody in wrestling, anybody who's touched wrestling, any celebrity that's appeared in wrestling, but they have to deserve a punch in the face, and it's got to be worth it. So it has to be well explained.
Awesome.
So my 1 through 5 couldn't be John Cena, right?
I'm kidding.
I'm kidding.
As long as you gave 5 good reasons to punch him in the face 5 times.
I mean, I got 5s, the 5-knuckle shuffle. What? I'm sorry, anyways.
Anyway. So that concludes it for this week's episode. Oh crap, we don't have a pay-per-view to do next week, do we?
No, I don't think so.
Are we doing the ones in your houses or something?
Yeah, like we just want to do like the 2 in your houses after WrestleMania.
That's fine.
So we continue on our Attitude Era retrospective and slowly march down to Survivor Series 97 and the Montreal Screwjob.
Other than the line, I know when we do the we're supposed to do like a WCW one. I think we should flip it, do an ECW one just for once.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
I'd be
one
fine
too.
with that.
Because ECW started to do pay-per-views in the 97 too. I think around that same range. So that would be fun because ECW is fun to go back and watch. Not as good as I remember it, but still pretty fun.
To be fair, like if I feel like I should donate money to WWE because if you ever watch the ECW pay-per-views, none of the music that was originally there, it's all like dubbed over like cheesy like I don't know what it is. It's like elevator music.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Actually, speaking of which, did anybody notice in WrestleMania 19, Hulk Hogan came out to some really weird music on that the video? Like they couldn't afford. Yeah, like they were trying to go for like a Voodoo Child, but they couldn't afford the rights, so they just put in like some crap music.
Right.
Yeah, I think I could make better music than that. Barely.
Yeah, well, I think my ass can probably make better music than that. Hello. Anyway, so that concludes our podcast. What was that?
Yeah, I was going to say we haven't talked about Warrior yet. If you want to.
Oh yeah, Warrior.
Did we go on about him at the beginning?
We did go on about him a little bit in the beginning. Well, maybe next week we'll do our Ultimate Warrior tribute too.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's just
quick.
favorite match of Warrior all time or something next week. He deserves at least a little piece.
Yeah, definitely. Because he was a big part of my early childhood.
I still have his wrestling buddy in my closet right now.
I think Warrior's gonna take this podcast and turn it into a nosedive. Hulk Hogan. Sorry, that was my favorite promo ever. Like of his. Cockpit doors. I'm done.
Okay. Assume the controls.
Hulk Hogan.
All right, we're off the rails. I think this is time.
I think this has gone too far. All right, so for the
make sure to tip your waitresses. Sorry.
For your Db&J podcast, this is Turnbuckle Jim.
Chair shot, Donnie.
Fast Count Brian.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully.